president of the National Congress of Black Political Women, which I had something to do when it was founded, including help to found it, who has had a distinguished political career in her own right and has of late been taking the lead on this issue of violence against women, C. Delores Tucker. Let's bring on.
First of all, I want to say that Reverend Jesse Jackson and the National Rainbow Coalition are to be commended for their foresight in addressing the #1 domestic problem in this nation, violence in America. The National Political Congress of Black Women is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization created in 1984 at the suggestion of Reverend Jackson at the 1984 Democratic National Convention to empower African American women economically and politically. Its founding members do include some of the most prominent and concerned women in America, including Mary Berry and Dr. Dorothy Height, our mayor of this city, Alexis Herman, Dr. Gloria A. Toot, Jewel Jackson McCabe, Reverend Willie Barrow, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Eleanor Holmes Norton, Curtis Collins, and Congresswoman Barbara Rose Collins. We embrace and salute the goals of this conference. Today we have all come together to join forces to address the issue of violence in the nation. A violence which has decimated our communities, devastated our families, and destroyed the souls of so many of our youth. It is imperative that we stop the agendas that are not too relevant as this, that we stop pondering over the issue of space exploration, that we stop debating whose diary we should publicize, that we stop arguing over what choices each lifestyle has. For today we must be serious about this serious situation, this plague, this death to our society. Our greatest fear right here in America is not from hurricanes or earthquakes, not from disease or war, but from violence one against the other. We must understand clearly that violence comes in many forms and is acted upon by many sources. Whether we are talking about physical violence, spiritual violence, economic violence, or sexual violence, the end result is the same, the destruction of human life. Enough is enough. And I'd like someone to bring me what made me say enough is enough. Where's my graphic? Bring it up here, please, somebody. I am here to put the nation on notice that violence perpetuated against women through the music industry in the forms of gangster rap and misogynist lyrics will not be tolerated any longer. Principle must come before profit. A year ago, I established the National Political Congress of Black Women's Entertainment Commission, headed by Dionne Warwick, Melba Moore, Terry Rossi of Billboard magazine, and Vaughn Alexander, our director. It had one primary goal: the task of examining and developing strategies and solutions for reshaping and maintaining positive images to preserve the dignity and the heritage of our youth. Instead of continuously exposing our youth to negative media that distorts their images of male-female relationships, that undermines the stability of our families, communities, and nation by encouraging violence, abuse, and sexism as acceptable behaviors, and perpetuates the cycle of low self-esteem of African American youth. Thus, images that degrade our dignity and are an insult to our children, our families, and communities concern us too. And that includes all this gangster rap and misogynist lyrics. Music that glorifies and promotes violence with guns, knives, or drugs, and denigrates and defames women. And with the release of Snoop Doggy Dogg's debut album, Doggy Style, that includes artwork that is nothing but pornographic smut, available to any child to go in and buy with the album and with a record. That has got to stop. You want to know why I'm on the warpath? When I saw this, I said, that's it. We march again, and we're going to keep on marching and demonstrating the truth stuff. For 400 years, profit came before principle, as black women bore the brunt of slave masters' degradation. But even through the Middle Passage, the peculiar institution of slavery, the spirit of black women and their families could not be broken. Today, however, through the lyrics of rappers who display no respect for women, no respect for families, and little respect for themselves, the souls of our sisters are being destroyed, and so too their progeny. All of us have watched as the industry have grown. We have watched not really knowing, not really understanding, not first realizing the damage that is inherent in what some thought were merely words. Now we see the direct and indirect effects. We see the rise in murders, in abuse, in batterings, teen prostitution, and teen suicide. We hear the wailing mothers, the grieving sisters, the tormented brothers and fathers and children planning their own funerals with pink dresses and pink caskets. We feel their hopelessness and helplessness, and we embrace their pain. Yet in the midst of these tragedies, others still want to argue about the First Amendment right to freedom of speech, a freedom they have embraced to call African American women hoes and bitches and sluts and even worse. As I see it, there are three things wrong with gangster rap and misogynist lyrics. It is obscene, it is obscene, it is obscene. In my view, it was never intended by the founding fathers of this nation that First Amendment rights were meant to protect obscenities. And if there were founding mothers, it would have been more explicit about what the First Amendment meant. Obscenity,
I'm not sure I know that part.
Obscenity has long been an exception. Obscenity, and we have the Attorney General here, I believe it's right. Obscenity has long been an exception to free speech. If the filth that is portrayed in these gangster rap videos and art is not obscene, then I submit that nothing is obscene. In 1992, the Canadian Supreme Court ruled that it was more important to ban speech that is dehumanizing to women than to protect free speech. African American women have always been the protector and nurturers of their homes, their families, and their communities. We march for our rights to Selma. I was there with Dr. King. We're beaten with billy clubs, and we're bitten with dogs unleashed by bull connors. We will not tolerate injustice and insults from our worst enemies then, and we sure ain't gonna accept insults from our youth now.
All right. Okay.
Although the MPCBW condemns the actions of those young people who produce such music, we also realize that we must provide other channels for them to use these multiple talents they have in a positive and wholesome way. After all, they are not the root causes of the complex socioeconomic forces that are manifested in such vile entertainment. Those problems were there long before many of them were born. Those problems must be addressed if the communities that produce those gangster rappers are to survive and thrive. We know some of the problems, and now on behalf of NPCBW, I will offer up some solutions so that we can help turn this nation around and communities around. First of all, we must use all means possible to eradicate and ban the sale of illegal guns. We must remove guns from the hands of our children and our gangsters who are so proud of the power of the gun. That's number one. Number two, we must reinvent our educational system to include more vocational training to provide a successful transition between school and work for those who will not continue to go on to college. We must extend the school hours in the school year so that latchkey children teachers will be from their schools instead of from the street. We must provide educational opportunities for our prisoners so that they will be productive citizens when their tour of prison is over. I met with Senator Carol Moseley Braun, and I was very pleased to amend what she was introducing to the Senate, not only educational opportunities, but training opportunities as well. And she has proposed mandated training for all prisoners in education.
Now,
we must provide...
See, Dolores, now you don't have to say everything you want to say this time. You'll get to talk again.
Well, I've just got one more page, and may I finish? I wait a long time to come, and let me just finish it. Please.
Okay, well, if you
I only got one more little page here.
All right.
To provide community outreaches so that our youth who have embraced the gangs as their only family will find refuge in community institutions, neighborhood academies, and educational programs. Convert our unused military bases into institutions of peace, where men and women can be trained to become productive citizens who will contribute to the well-being of this nation, expand our nation's infrastructure where needed, and make this nation a powerful global force. I stand before you today with millions of my sisters to say that no one has the right to degrade, denigrate, dishonor, or disrespect African American women. No one has the right to poison our children's mind and destroy our African cultural heritage. That is why the women of NPCBW and our supporters will demonstrate. We'll go to jail again and again and again, just as we did when we demonstrated at the Wiz in December and Sam Goody yesterday. No one and no industry will be allowed to continue this social and psychological genocide.
Woo, baby. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Nights with Nicci. Welcome to Nights with Nicci. Welcome to Nights with Nicci, you guys. I had to make sure that I allowed that entire speech to roll. Now, I know some of y'all are like, okay, what is she doing here? Are we going live? Why are we listening to see Delores Tucker give us a long and much needed speech? However, it was like, I don't know. Was she right? Was she right? Was she wrong? I've been hearing a lot of talk in these streets about a lot of things that she mentioned. And it appears to me that much, if not every single word that Madam C. Delores Tucker mentioned in that speech has come to fruition in our community. Tonight on Nights with Nicci, we are asking a hard question. Why didn't we listen to C. Delores Tucker? Back in 1994, long before all this social media, there stood a woman at Capitol Hill before Congress warning us that if we did not check the messages in hip hop and in rap, especially the ones that are aimed at our youth and Black women, that we'd be we start down a pathway to generational damage. And instead of getting her support, she was ridiculed. Hip hop called her a B. I sang along to the song, "Wonder why they call you a bitch." What? I was singing right along with Jewel, whoever that was. She was dismissed as an out of touch church lady who was trying to kill the culture, who was trying to silence our youth. But C. Delores Tucker was not anti-Black, not at all. She was pro-Black future. She knew what we were listening to was going to end up putting the Black community exactly where we are today. And right now, we are in a pan full of hot ass fish grease. And I don't know if there's any coming back from it. But y'all, this is finna trip y'all out. Now this is finna trip y'all all the way out. Let me tell you something. Suge Knight, who I absolutely, I ucks with Suge. I do. I just feel like Suge is, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to some of the stuff that he's been talking about on YouTube. And how he feels about this Diddy thing. But I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna tell you that Suge and C. Delores Tucker, these two right here, are actually on the same page. And Suge was one of her biggest adversaries in the 90s. So check this out, and then we're going to bring the panel back up so we can unpack this. And we're going to try not to make this 2 hours. But, you know, when we be talking, we just be talking. Y'all, make sure y'all hit that like button. Please hit the like button. Share this with your friends. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Nice with Nicci back again. All right, you guys. Suge Knight's message to Diddy. From prison, Suge Knight has been vocal about Diddy's ongoing federal trial, urging him to take the stand, come clean, and even name other celebrities involved. Here's the breakdown. Knight told Diddy directly, he might be stupid sometimes, but he ain't dumb. If they gave Puffy the opportunity to humanize himself, it'll be the best thing for the culture of hip hop. It'll be one of the biggest power moves of the U.S. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's of the U.S. or of hip hop, whatever. He's saying cut the deal, then fix hip hop. He's advising Diddy to strike a plea and let him speak freely, that allow him to speak freely in court. Cut the deal first. Get a situation where whatever you say on the stand, they don't use against you. When you get on that stand, fix hip hop, fix the culture, fix our people. Y'all, we about to get into this. Tell the truth and you'll walk. I don't know what Suge is talking about, but we about to get into it. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button. See, this is what I dig about Suge. My husband got me really paying attention to Suge because Suge be kicking that like real Holyfield shit, right? He says, tell the truth and you'll walk. Knight believes that if Diddy confesses to past mistakes and tells his truth, the jury might empathize and acquit him. If he does tell the truth, he really could walk. He can humanize himself and the jury might give him a shot. He calls out Diddy's artists and associates because he says his peers are silent out of fear. They're so scared, they slaves. Knight implies that fear is the reason for silence of figures like MJB, I ain't saying the other name because I don't believe that, and Mace. I shouldn't have said nobody's name, I wasn't saying hers, but y'all can only imagine. Accountability over reputation management. He believes that Diddy truly owns up. If he truly owns up about the 2016 Cassie Ventura assault, he could promote healing in this culture. Knight condemned the entertainment industry's complicity in enabling abusive behavior and emphasized accountability. Why Suge thinks Diddy's testifying matters is because it is a cultural defining moment. He says the truth as power. By humanizing himself and naming names, he could shift the accused to the avenger and use this moment to expose an industry-wide wrongdoing. And he said transparency and healing. His belief is honesty could reduce the damage, not just to Diddy, but to hip-hop as a whole. From behind bars, Suge Knight is publicly telling Diddy that testifying, not hiding, is the smart play. If they can humanize him, shift cultural narratives, and even result in a better legal outcome. Now, this is an absolutely rare moment of alignment between Suge Knight and C. Delores Tucker. Because C. Delores Tucker was fiercely against misogyny, violence, and the degradation of women in rap lyrics. Suge, on the other hand, was a co-architect of Death Row Records. So he promoted the content that she was trying to get rid of. So at the time, it was about his paper chase, and he wasn't so concerned about what they called an old church lady who was out of touch. But now, Suge Knight is calling for accountability in hip-hop from his prison cell, ironically. He's urging him to tell the truth. He's saying fix hip-hop, fix the culture, fix our people. And C. Delores is saying that you cannot listen to this over and over again without it affecting your spirit. So they're both saying the same thing: accountability, truth-telling, and protecting the Black community from exploitation. Talk about from the cell, prison cell, and from the grave. You got two of the most towering figures in hip hop. And whether you believe it or not, See, Dolores Tucker was a force to be reckoned with. Okay, she took this thing all the way to Capitol Hill because Capitol Hill, hello, Supreme Court writ, P Valley. I mean, sorry, Nikki Gilbert Dance versus Lion Gate. Just wanted to plug that. But Capitol Hill is the only place you're gonna get some change. This is the irony of this legacy is that a man once seen as a villain of the culture is now echoing the warnings of a woman that he once labeled his enemy. These are two voices from two different sides of the war on hip hop, possibly finding a point of agreement through the wreckage. We let too much slide. Now it's time to clean this shit up. Panel and chat. What do you think about Sugar Daddy Suge and C. Delores Tucker finally feeling like they're on the same page?
Girl, can I please talk?
Oh, I have so many thoughts. Go ahead. Go ahead. You go
Let me
first.
give you, can I give you this that's gonna shut this the fuck down? You have to understand, see Dolores Tucker, we are now her age now. Do you understand? We are now
You might
her
be her age, but
age.
I'm a little younger than she was, but okay.
Okay, but you know where I'm going. Okay, you know where I'm going. At the time when she was Suge's adversary, sure, we were 20s, we were kids. Of course, she was an old fogey, old church woman that wasn't in touch with the times, and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. I'm chasing my bag. You know, I'm trying to make it. This is my way out the hood. This is my way, and we got something to say. And you know, we were F the police, and we were this, and we were that, and it carried on. We were young men trying to express ourselves, and this, that, and the other. You know, and at the time where music was male dominated, you know, it was all about that life. And then this is when it became gangster, because a lot of what she said was when rap was changing into gangster rap and carrying on. And now the whole street element of selling the drugs and being the pimp and all of that was taking precedent in the music. So if I'm a businessman and I'm on my hustle, bitch, I ain't got time to think about what the fuck you saying. You know what I'm saying? Because hell, now you sound like my mama. I'm not in my mama's house for that reason. You know what I'm saying? So now, catch. She's coming from the cell because now all that she has said done caught up with your ass. You done went down. Now you in the jail cell. And you done became the old fogey. You are in the age bracket now where she was saying these things. And now here you are to somebody who was your peer at one point, who is now in that same age bracket, who is now, you know, the thing is, tell the truth. You know, save hip hop because yeah, now he can sit up there and say she had a point because why? You not got what you needed out of it now, and you see the error of your ways. Because this particular generation, now we are what we twerking, what we doing, child. You know, we Cardi B in, we sexy red in, you know, and we all that. You know, mush mouth rapping, carrying on. What the fuck? We got a song called Throat Goat. Okay, and you, you know what I'm saying? So we are here. So the biggest thing, the biggest thing is you have become the old fogey now. So of course your messages are going to align because she said that how long ago? In 86, 86, 87,
Not,
89,
not,
up
no, it
in
wasn't
there.
that long ago. It was 94.
94. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So 94. This is 2025. So you're talking 30 years. Okay. 31 years to be exact. Baby,
And
that's
it's
a
just
shit.
like it's like she prophesized. It's like, how did you know 30
Exactly.
years ago that every single one of them rappers that you was talking about in
Exactly.
jail, finna be in jail?
And now that he is living it, of course his message is going to align with hers because he got wisdom up on his belt right now. You know what I'm saying? And so now at this particular stage of the game, the only way that's going to come that we can save anything is to bring back artist development. And the reason why we need to bring artist development back is because right now we under the guise of being an independent artist, nobody knows how to play this game. Nobody knows how to groom themselves properly for television, radio, print, this, that, and other. Nobody knows about image. They know about branding. We press branding and trying to be
Baby, don't
entrepreneurial.
nobody know how to do nothing but drop it low and spread it wide out here in these streets. Ain't nobody
And
got
there you
no
have it.
knowledge of branding or artist development.